about the additional bit. Basically, that's it. Yeah, yeah. I know, I can't believe.
Hi, Roger.
I just wanted you to know that I did work on that.
Roger, you're here.
With no success.
Heating my house with my wood stove and so. Oh, it stinks right in at us. So I'm gonna go home and get on Zoom.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
Yeah.
sounds
yeah,
good.
of course.
I don't feel comfortable leaving the wood. No problem.
Yeah.
Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So it's 4:30.
Yes, so that means we call the meeting to order. That means we establish a quorum, and we have a quorum, 1, 2, 3, 4. Roger is not available right now.
He will be.
be.
But this isn't a regular meeting, so I don't think you need a
It's not,
quorum.
that's what I was saying, it's not a regular meeting.
It's a workshop.
It's on my agenda.
Oh, it is. I apologize. I'm just so formal.
Because then it says discussion to be led by the planning board subcommittee, so who do I turn it over to?
Her.
The whole group.
The whole group.
Now,
Okay.
when my mind blows out, this is all so confusing, folks. So just.
That's why I didn't want any part of it.
Yeah, so basically, as we said in the agenda, LD 2003 was passed by the state legislature and signed by the governor in April 2022 and went into effect July 27th. And the goal is for the new laws to alleviate the housing affordability issues in Maine by increasing housing opportunities. They amended the law using LD 1706, which extended the implementation date for towns like ours to July 1st, 2024. And so basically, what is LD 2003? It requires municipalities to allow additional units on lots zoned for single-family homes. It requires municipalities allow at least one accessory dwelling unit on lots with existing single-family homes. And in some areas, designated growth areas such as our town centers, it requires municipalities to allow 2.5 times the currently allowed housing units for developments where most of the units meet standard affordability definitions. And our town centers actually do meet that criteria. And so we can start the discussion. Basically though, as we mentioned it, as Bill mentioned it too, if the town does not approve the changes recommended by the planning board, which are the minimum required for LD 2003, basically, I think generally they are the minimum. The Islesboro ordinance or regulation will not be consistent with the law and may be challenged as invalid. So we have gone through the land use ordinance, chapter 1 and 25, and related changes in development review, chapter 45. So starting off in the town centers district, section 125.29.1, we note that under minimum lot size, they have added a section F. Is notwithstanding anything in this code to the contrary, residential lots within an affordable housing development as defined in this chapter and subject to the performance standards contained in section 125.61, which is the definitions, shall have a minimum lot size. No, that's a section about whatever, section 125.61 shall have a minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet. So that is one change to town centers. Also, we added, we wanted, because minimum lot sizes in all districts is not really clear, we wanted to add to section 125.33, which is minimum lot sizes in all districts. that each lot must provide not less than 1.5 acres for each dwelling unit. So a dwelling unit must have 1.5 acres, except for in town centers and where accessory dwelling units are discussed further on in our ordinance.
So, that is not part of the mandate, correct?
Correct, that's a clarification for our ordinance. Our ordinance states 1.5 acres, but it doesn't state per dwelling unit. So that's a good point, we should somehow, I know you guys wanted to do that, but that was beyond me. So I will put that, we need to somehow indicate not mandated. Thank you.
And what was not mandated, the 1.5 acres?
It's not clear that it's 1.5 acres per dwelling unit. It's implied, but not stated.
And the line above it where it says lot size of 8,000 square feet per dwelling unit. That's not, that's not 1.5 acres.
That's in town centers.
That's in town
Only
centers
for-
only.
And only for affordable housing,
Okay.
yeah. So, we can go to the next page.
Yeah,
In section 125-61, goes through the affordable housing development, criteria. It's, an addition to our Article 5 standards. So we have all sorts of details here, about affordable housing developments. We do have a definition that I think we put in the definition section, and I thought it might make sense to put it up in this section, because it gets so confusing. But basically, on the next page after that, under section 125-63, which is adding language to the definitions, affordable housing development, where 51% of units therein are affordable housing units as defined in this chapter. And then we define affordable housing unit, a dwelling unit that will, through recorded enforcement of a restrictive covenant, be affordable to a household making no more than, and what we understand is we can say 120% of the area median income in the case of rental housing, or 100% of area median income in the case of owned housing. That change in that from the 80% to 120% is based on, Rick Rogers' knowledge about the Affordable Housing Initiative for Main Islands, which allows for Main Islands 120% for rental properties. Elsewhere, it's 80%. So this was trying to ensure that we can meet those criteria and we can be more lenient than the state, which I always get confused about, lenient, but.
And the lawyer agreed we could
Yeah.
do that.
what's that, getting more lenient? We can't be more strict, but we can be more lenient?
Yeah,
In this particular case.
kind of
Yeah.
counter.
Some things we can be more restrictive, but not.
Right.
Counterintuitive.
Dave will straighten us out if we say something wrong. So you can see this is affordable housing developments. An increased density only allowed within town center districts. And so there's all this criteria that we're providing here. I don't know if you want me to read it all, but, it's the standards that would be used to calculate affordable housing
Right.
and whatnot. And this is all criteria taken directly out of the housing rules, chapter 5 of the Department of Economic and Community Development Housing Opportunity Program, municipal land use and zoning ordinance rule. So basically, most of this language we cut and paste.
Yep.
So I know the affordable housing is very confusing. And I don't know, other than IAP, we can only hope we'll have more possibilities for it. But it gives criteria on, dealing with public sewers or private sewers, potable water. And we have included a definition for potable water that was used in the rules. Which is potable water. Oh, here it is. Potable means safe for drinking.
Where are you?
Oh, I just jumped ahead under, I'm sorry, I should have numbered your pages.
Well, I got some numbers on my pages.
And it says at the top,
It's the last page.
proposed updates to definitions. Is that what you have?
Yep,
Yeah, under there, it says potable means safe for drinking as defined by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's drinking water standards. And we need to add and health advisory tables. So that's directly out of the rules. And just note, in terms of those definitions, I have a definition up there for dwelling unit. That is our current dwelling unit definition. A room or group of rooms designed and equipped or used as living quarters for only one family. The term shall include guest houses, apartments, and mobile homes, but not recreational vehicles. And that's in chapter 125 and 45. And while we're in the definitions, just note, we have added a definition. This definition is not mandated. But I was thinking, I personally thought it would be nice to clarify what a kitchen was because it's so confusing. But people felt that this was flexible enough that it provides options for all sorts of permutations of a kitchen. A kitchen means an area within a structure that is used or designed to be used for the preparation or cooking of food and that contains cooking appliances, including but not limited to ovens, convection ovens, stoves, stovetops, built-in grills, or microwave ovens, or similar appliances. I'm not quite sure the 240-volt electrical outlets or any gas lines. I don't know if you need to have that, but
I would guess that you wouldn't have to have that, because if you don't have a range,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be running 240.
yeah,
Um,
so you don't really need to, maybe just a little.
most of those other things can run off of 110.
That's what I thought. I couldn't figure out why somebody would put that. I just pulled that definition from another town.
Yeah,
That town probably enforces electrical code, and we do not out here.
right.
Okay. All right, I want to cross that out. Thank you for clarifying that all. And just a note, in terms of freshwater wetland, here I've just updated it in terms of what the state definition is, in which they no longer define it as having 10 or more contiguous acres. So it's,
And the, all the definitions are not mandated.
correct, other than potable is in the rules, definition in the rules,
It's in the,
in the rules,
In the-
yeah.
2023.
Lot LD 2003, yep, yep. And I just threw in the highest annual tide, because I always forget the meaning of at when I see it. So that's non-mandated too. So you may think that's silly, but a lot of people don't necessarily know the meaning of it.
Unless we talked about it a lot, I wouldn't know what it was. I mean,
I know. Oh, and another thing, I just noticed that in the rules, they have a definition to attached. And I don't know, I didn't run back to look and see where attached is used. But
an attached ADU
Yeah, yeah,
or attached garage.
yeah. They say attached means connected by a shared wall to the principal structure.
Right.
You wanna keep that in just as a definition?
It
It's
is what it
It's
is.
in the rule, yeah, okay.
It is what it is.
All right. All right, so that's, any questions about affordable housing? Think, Tom might wanna, this is where it would be nice if we could expand our town center areas. Because, it can only be used, affordable housing can only be used in town centers, which are designated growth areas by our comprehensive plan.
Yeah, can I comment now? I mean, I've spoken to the subcommittee on one or two occasions about this already. They've got some good ideas about how to alter these existing town centers slightly. And you're gonna talk about that in a moment, right? My position is that if this initiative is to promote greater population density, more affordable housing, more workforce housing for Islesboro, as it's written, it will only occur in town centers. The town centers ordinances have been in place for these two town center areas now for how many years? I don't even know now. 8, 10,
Yeah.
8, I'm not sure. But in truth, there's been very little activity as a result of the establishment of these two town centers. No one has taken advantage of, to my knowledge, no one, not a single instance, has anyone taken advantage of a smaller lot size to build another house. Can anybody correct me on that?
Can't think of one.
So,
Numerous reasons being,
Most of,
Numerous
most of what we see are people using it as a loophole to expand what they've already got, because you can get, you got a higher limit on lot coverage.
right.
so if that's the intent of this new initiative, it's not really gonna change anything. It appears that it won't. Cause all we do as a town, as a planning board, is we set up what's allowable. I still feel, and most people do, that affordable housing or workforce housing is the existential issue for our island. We're gonna die as a community unless we can have more housing that's affordable and people can live here and work here. I'm afraid that the way this is written now, it's really not gonna solve anything. My suggestion to the subcommittee was that we go back and look at the Up Island Town Center that was considered when these two were established, but never reached a formal proposal, was never voted on one way or the other.
It was just those two that were voted on?
These were voted on.
Yeah, I know, though, but it was just those two. They didn't vote on the Up Island one?
No, the Up Island was discussed with a year-long discussion along with these two. There was some neighborhood opposition to the Up Island one, And the
Was that
committee-
at like a, town meeting or something?
Well, there were planning, there were committee meetings,
Right,
informational meetings, repeatedly, about the development of these boundaries. And at, a couple of those meetings, there was some neighborhood opposition to the Island one. And the committee at that time didn't have the will to pursue it. My personal opinion, even at that time, was that we should have done it. Isabel can probably talk to them about this. You were part of all that.
Yeah, the Way Up Island one. I especially remember a lot of opposition to that one. And I can't tell you, I can't really remember what people, I know there were some people who, in the Turkey neighborhood, who were for that.
The way up on was near the sporting club, the transfer station.
Yeah, well, yeah, right where they're gonna build the new fire station and all that.
Now,
North of that.
my suggestion to the subcommittee was that we revisit that, the one around Turkey Store, and, I don't have that map in hand right now,
Yeah,
but.
we have it, somebody dug it up
Um,
for us.
Janet,
Good.
Janet.
Yeah, Bill, Gil.
oh,
And so just to be realistic, the Durkee Store property itself includes 17 acres. It's now fixing to be bought by someone else, and that is a prime place where there could be some workforce housing, duplexes, apartment building, I don't know, you name it. It's just, it's the most.
but
appropriate
even under
place.
current stuff, they could put stuff up there with an acre and a half, is that
Acre and a
correct?
half, that's exactly right.
And they could put, an apartment house up there, couldn't they, Dave?
Yes. Yeah, it's not a limited development district at all up there. It's just straight up rural, but I think I'm a little confused here because the way you read that off earlier, the only place, according to what you were reading off there, the only place that we're gonna allow affordable housing is in town center districts.
Correct.
Why would we limit to just that? Why wouldn't we open it up to the rural as well?
Oh, I think you can build it anywhere, you just can't have that.
Because
The 800,
Increased
8,000 acres,
you know,
8,000.
just as an example, when the Graf's got that 36 acres up there, if somebody bought that and said, hey, I wanna put a subdivision in here of affordable housing, are we gonna say no?
No, but,
But it may be limited to
Yeah,
acre and a half lots.
right.
or one dwelling unit per acre and a half, so do the math. I mean, that would be,
Well, it depends if
18.
you have an easement on your property too, right? Well, you can't, like, I can't sell mine because it has an easement, and they can't build extra house along.
but like Durkee's, if, say 17 acres were buildable.
That's probably
An
not
acre and a
all
half.
buildable. There's some swamp back there, but say 10.
Right,
10,
right.
you could have 5 units, maybe 6.
Yeah.
right? Can't do the math right off my head.
And again, you know, we're trying to make that possible, but again, for workforce housing, for it to be actually affordable for a tradesperson to, you know, buy an acre and a half and build a house. We've already heard from Rick Rogers so many times that, you know, it costs $500,000,
Yeah,
you know? And that's like a non-starter for somebody that's a tradesperson. If we could use a greater population density and a smaller lot size on that particular piece of property, then you might could actually have a duplex or an apartment house that would actually end up being affordable.
I don't see why you can't, as it is.
As it is now, again, you gotta have an acre and a half. So if you're gonna build a 4-unit dwelling, you would have to have 6 acres. And again, that's expensive. Now, that whole piece of property is going, like the store, the apartment and the property is 1.5 mil. So,
Is it being sold as one thing?
All one.
Lock, stock and barrel.
but, you know, there could be ways to structure that transaction so that someone, ISC, somebody ended up owning 6 or 8 of those acres with the intent to build some workforce housing. But again, we can't do it, no one can do it, at an acre and a half per dwelling. It just,
Right.
it's
I,
non-starter.
when you said it about when you said it like a 4 apartment building and everything, those are actual dwelling units. And if it's per dwelling unit, then I got your math when you said that.
Yeah, it's like having, 4 buildable lots.
Right,
Even though you're gonna just build one structure
right,
and have 4 modest apartments, you still gotta have 6 acres to
Right.
do it. So that doesn't really help realistically.
no,
So, but if the area around Durkee's can be designated a town center, then
That would
that would
change.
allow for greater density.
correct.
And then no need for an acre and a half.
That's right. Then it becomes 20,000 square feet per dwelling. And so on, which is about a third of an acre, I think.
It's actually 8,000 square feet.
For affordable
For
housing.
affordable housing, yeah.
So then suddenly it becomes feasible to build something with 4 units or 6 units
Right,
on a much smaller footprint, much smaller lot size, making everything more affordable. So I'm here to urge you to consider that. And the reason I'm asking you to consider including an Up Island town center is that you're gonna have to go through public hearings. This is just the next step, but there's several other steps before this can actually reach fruition. And if we were to start this whole process separately, to establish a new town center up there, it would delay everything another 2 years. So that's what I'm advocating for, that you consider now while you're doing these changes and changing these 2 town centers boundaries to include a town center around Turkey Store.
Well, yeah, the question is, so can we use the former boundary around what you folks own? Yeah. As, I mean, we don't even know if that's the best way to go, it's just
Right.
use the southern.
You can draw the boundaries as you choose and propose that to town.
Well, we don't have the
It's
knowledge,
all up to you.
yeah.
But that's what we did years ago. That was what we had come up with. But again, that never went to a vote. It was never,
How did you come up with those boundaries for the southern portion?
now you're really taxing my memory.
Yeah, what?
So,
Yeah, here's, Field Road and, so it is, look at that, following property lines so that we can.
I can't tell you when we did it that way. This certainly includes,
So this is Turkey's.
yeah. So here's the road. Okay? And this, yeah, so this is, here, Jingle.
Yes, I think-
Islesboro and Trust Land now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, both sides.
That's right. So this is the piece of property that I'm talking
That's the
about, that
little
includes
field.
this little chunk over here.
Who's it?
Hey, Dave,
The new,
And it's
affordable
one
housing they're
more
building up here, didn't he say it was gonna cost 2 million?
Yeah,
to
it's
build?
gonna be one, the other.
It'd be the same thing down there,
In your.
so it's still gonna be
expert,
expensive.
Experience,
in the town
would you
center
add
at this
anything
point.
more to this, or do you think?
He's
this
not actually in
still
the town
represents,
centers at this point.
A good suggestion?
The new
or-
houses,
Yeah,
This is certainly a reasonable suggestion.
That's part of this.
Bill says this
You-
is
you
all
guys are gonna
off of
consider
trust land.
extending,
Okay,
adding,
yeah.
That's
to
what
include those lots in the town.
it's still gonna cost a problem.
Yeah, buildings up. I mean,
Yes.
that's-
Randy does.
But he might be able to put more housing on that lot if it gets included.
Yeah, but if you're using a lot and a half, you can build a house and have your grandfather garage thing with an apartment on top of it.
But
That's
there's
two dwellings right there on an acre and a half. You do 6 acres,
Possibly
that's
be
how many?
utilized for housing.
Yeah, assuming each unit had an ADU.
right.
I'm sorry to throw this wrench into all of your will.
Oh, I
built
know, and I
before
don't
you
know
apartment
if we
building.
have the energy.
They're not gonna have an
or-
ADU.
I think what
Yeah, but I-
is concerning me is.
In my
we have
opinion, I
to
kinda
get-
think people don't want an apartment
that's
building,
right,
they'd
July
much rather see it well.
We have to have this done by July first.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the downfall I think you'll get, but
Yeah, there's a lot of NIMBY out here.
But we can certainly introduce it. I mean, if somebody can come
Yes,
up
yes, yes,
with
let's
the,
do this, but.
Jen, this is Roger. Hello? Yeah, with two conversations going on, I'm having trouble following either one.
I'll back up.
Now, Roger, we're just looking, I don't know if you've got a copy of the map. I think Janet gave it to us. It shows what originally was proposed for Up Island town centers. There were two of them. One up near the transfer station and one down near Durkee's. And so
Right.
Tom is just suggesting trying to expand our town center area. And the only thing is that Isabel just recalls that there may have been more opposition to the transfer station site
Yeah.
than maybe the Durkee's site.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
remember
I'm,
for opposition to the thing around Durkee's.
yeah. So I
I
don't,
think,
yeah, go ahead.
if I might, I think Tom is making an excellent point. I think we may be missing the boat if we don't somehow find more in-town district so that we can expand lower moderate income housing to work to tradesmen. And I think, I don't know whether the hesitancy is that we'd have to go through another process where we'd be, we have some opposition and that would create some kind of turmoil. I don't know. But I think the principle that Tom is talking about, I'm certainly for 100%. I'd like to see more available land for lower income housing.
Okay. If everything we're doing today, never mind the Up Island Town Centers, everything we're doing today is designed and written so that in a town center, you can have 8,000 square feet per dwelling unit, correct?
Mhm.
So that doesn't change when that becomes, if we can push that through, or anybody can push that through later on down the road, it's still gonna be 8,000 square feet.
Mhm.
It has, so we want somebody wants to try riding that pony again, even after this is all settled in, it's still gonna be in effect, or is that correct?
Right, right. It's just trying to extend. Tom is hoping, we could expand, add a third town center on the coattails of our present public hearing process. And I don't know if this could potentially upset people more. I don't know.
People can get mad when you're done with the new road, I mean,
you're never gonna make everybody happy.
No.
So
That's
I guess
for sure.
it's something the planning board maybe would consider making this suggestion to the select board that we think that this is important to pursue at this time, since we have this current mandate to increase affordable housing and housing on the island. And that we are proposing.
And that would open up more areas of possibilities.
Yeah, at least for this southern Turkey.
But you can't make
Yeah,
the
don't-
homeowner do that. I mean, you can offer it, a benefit's only a benefit if you take advantage of it.
Correct.
But we're,
You're not
we would
making
only
anybody do
offer the, Turkey site, not the island.
Correct, yeah, yeah. So what do you think about that? We'll discuss it then, we'll bring it to our agenda next planning board
I think,
meeting.
yeah, I think bottom line is we need to get this LD, whatever it is, I can't remember anymore.
2003, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that bottom line is we have to get this thing worked out and passed through everybody that needs to get passed through.
I would be happy to speak for the select board if you would
Oh,
like.
that'd be great.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like it's something that might wanna get, somebody needs to ride that pony again. Oh. I can't remember how long ago we did these, I mean,
Sounds like a good one for the housing committee.
If we do a lot of changes to the existing town centers district, we already have to provide individual certified mailings to all
landowners, land,
abutters
Butters and homeowners.
and people in it.
right,
Oh. Okay.
right, so if we were able to expand the ones that Rick is talking about, whoever's abutting those would have to get notified and.
Yeah, does that mean we have to inform everybody in the town center or?
Inside that town center,
Inside.
and abutting the current and proposed boundary.
we have quite a lot to do before July.
Yeah,
Yeah, and if we change,
Already.
if we change the,
But is expanding the town center is something that's required for us before July?
no.
No,
I go back to
It's
my
just the
regular
word.
thing, we take care of what needs to be taken care of. Anything above and beyond that it kind of has to fall on a second burner. On a back burner, so to speak, but
but if the town has to vote on it and you want it done by May, cause that's when the next town meeting is,
then it has to be,
everything has to be approved or
Yeah.
done by then.
Nothing official yet, but I heard some rumblings the other day, town meeting's probably not gonna be till June.
Well, that's fine, then you got 6 months now.
Yeah, well,
Instead of 5.
That would be helpful. And Janet couldn't give me a deadline.
I'm not opposed to expanding anything if we can do it, but
It all has to be voted on, so we could do it, and then the town just has to vote on it, and
Yeah.
that'll approve it.
All right, well, let's go on with this so that we can get through this bit. We have the accessory dwelling unit section.
hey, wait a minute,
We have section 125-35,
-1, no,
125-35.
Okay, G1.
that's what I'm asking.
Now, pages are all screwed up. Let's look for amendments to the Islesboro land use ordinance regarding accessory dwelling units.
Oh, right here, page 1.
Page 1.
Yeah, I know, there, I should have changed the page number, sorry.
No,
Was
it's all right.
way beyond.
Oh, you don't have the number, the same thing we have.
No, we all have the same, I just numbered them so I wouldn't lose them.
Oh.
All right, so you can see in here, we have changes to our current accessory dwelling unit definitions. And under A, the first one, we have a small what's currently it states, a small self-contained residential unit located on the same lot as an existing single-family home. An ADU has all the basic facilities needed for day-to-day living independent of the primary residence, including a kitchen. We're slashing such as.
Right.
We're stating it has to have a kitchen, sleeping area, and a bathroom. So that's a non-mandated change.
Okay. I don't see a problem with it, do you?
No,
And we've already, made a definition of what a kitchen is.
yeah, so define what a kitchen is. All right, and then, we have an item C, which we added, which is, tiny homes is a state regulation that defines a tiny home, which are tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And we include a definition for tiny homes in our ordinance.
Yeah,
And they do not exceed 400 square feet in size. But they do have to comply with national standards and blah, blah, blah,
that
blah.
would be on page 4, that definition.
Yes, you're right. They are on page 4 of that definition. Yep. And then item D is the biggest change. At least one accessory dwelling unit must be allowed on any lot where a single-family dwelling unit is the principal structure.
Okay,
And
and accessory dwelling, an ADU must be allowed to be on any lot where a single family dwelling unit is principal structure.
We don't have that already.
I know, but I'm just thinking in my head, and I'm sorry for this, but, what if that lot size doesn't,
but we have it in here. So you mean non-conforming?
yeah,
It is, go to page 2. An accessory dwelling unit, well, first of all, is exempted from any density requirements or lot area requirements related to the area in which the accessory dwelling unit is constructed, with the exception that a second ADU must meet the dimensional area and setback requirements of a dwelling unit. So that's item 1, and I know, yes, and then item 2. I think an accessory dwelling unit is allowed on a lot that does not conform to the municipal zoning ordinance if the accessory dwelling unit does not further increase the nonconformity, meaning the accessory dwelling unit does not cause further deviation from the dimensional standards, creating the nonconformity,
right,
excluding lot area.
which would mean that if I have a house and a garage on a non-conforming lot, I could go above the garage with an ADU,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I couldn't go beside the garage with an ADU.
right, if it doesn't meet the dimensional or the setbacks.
You could if it met all the
If it met all the
Yes.
setbacks, yes, you could.
Right.
And then there was number 3 is for an accessory dwelling unit located in the same structure as a single family dwelling unit or attached to a single family dwelling unit. The dimensional requirements and setback requirements must be the same as the dimensional requirements and setback requirements of the single family dwelling unit. So that's where our definition of attached comes in.
Well, that makes me feel better about at least one accessory dwelling unit must be allowed on any lot, because any lot with a dwelling,
Yeah. Well, and
as long as it complies with everything else.
I think, does it also state, well, all right, so then, as you can see, we have eliminated under 35, section 35, 125.35.3 standards and criteria. We've eliminated minimum lot size and frontage requirements because they're
That's what this page, on page 2,
yes, that.
yeah, I
page
see the
was
60 is
eliminated.
crossed out for minimum lot area.
Yeah, well, that's been crossed out. And so we don't require minimum, and the ADUs must be at least currently, we don't have this. ADUs must be at least 190 square feet in total floor area and may not exceed 800 square feet in total floor area. And Wendy checked on this, and the state says they cannot, we cannot reduce that 190 square feet in total floor. And we were hoping we could merge tiny home and ADUs together, but tiny homes have to be a dwelling unit.
That's my definition.
Can we go back to one, number one? Where it says line 3, the exception is the second ADU.
Mhm.
Does that suggest you can have 2 ADUs?
Right, but you have to meet the dimensional area and setback requirements of a dwelling unit, so you have to have an acre and a half for that second ADU.
And that would not be an ADU, it would be considered a dwelling unit.
Yeah,
Right, oh, good point.
yeah.
So I think that needs some right.
I think I took-
Really?
I don't know,
Okay.
Isabel will rewrite this section, well, we can look and see if we can find where it is. So you want it to-
I'll do that.
You want it clear, or that a second ADU is equal to a dwelling unit? Basically, that's what they're saying. But it's the attorneys, they got into this and they just make it easy. Whoa, gesundheit. That's Tom's thoughts on ADUs. And second ADUs. All right, so then we go into. Oh, just talking about verification that a proposed ADU is connected to adequate water and wastewater, improved potable water. Oh, and another big change is item G is totally crossed out. We no longer are requiring that the owner is required to occupy either the primary residence or the ADU as their primary legal residence. That is no longer required.
And that.
So the person that owns the house that lives in Massachusetts can do it.
Yeah.
And this is not mandated. I don't think.
Correct, correct. It is not mandated. And we're hoping that this will, create some housing.
That could,
Right.
because
I mean, even if
that
it's
was a big
seasonal.
complaint from a lot of
Yeah,
people.
yeah, well,
I don't live there.
Yeah,
Yep, exactly.
and it would make it hard to sell a place if you couldn't use the ADU if you wanna buy a place in out of state.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the big concerns I heard from people, is that, this doesn't apply to me because it's not my year-round residence.
Mhm. The only clinker is that under the new I, we have an ADU may not be leased or rented to a tenant for periods of less than 60 days.
Okay, okay, I see that right there.
Yeah, and that's just trying to avoid a lot of turnover.
Airbnbs.
Airbnbs.
Yeah, I mean, they still could with the primary residence or but they wouldn't be able to with the ADU.
Could continue living in their ADU and make their primary residence Airbnb.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the problem with not requiring that they live there, but.
Well, that's also, yeah,
Well,
hopefully to make it more long-term. housing.
Right.
yeah.
Or
So-
even if it's just seasonal, when you're not there,
Right.
I mean, anything's better than nothing.
Any comments on that, Dave, anything jumping out at you?
I like the fact of getting rid of that covenant. I thought that was kind of.
I know, I'm not quite sure what we're supposed to do with what, we have one, Christine's, is she the only one? Or is there
I
a
think we have
second?
two.
We do have
Yeah, we
two,
had two.
and I can't remember what the advantage was for them to keep their covenant.
Yeah,
What covenant are we talking about?
where the owner of the property has to either live in the primary or the ADU.
Yeah,
With, when Christine Robb did it for her garage down
Right.
there, and when Earl McKenzie put an ADU on his place, they had to go to the lawyers
Rules.
and have a covenant made saying that they would either live in one or the other,
yeah,
and that would transfer if they sold. That covenant would transfer to the new owners.
okay.
And that would be very problematic to sell.
Yeah.
Very problematic.
So those two people would be able to do away with that?
I believe so, yeah. I don't think we would.
They wouldn't be
hold-
bound
I
to
don't
that
think we would-
anymore.
if we're gonna eliminate it, we wouldn't hold them to it.
I don't think we'd have, I think we,
No.
but we oughta, if it goes through, then they ought to be told they can,
Yeah, they should be notified saying,
And they
hey,
can take that out of the deed.
okay?
I guess, it's just saying that ADUs are subject to the same setback requirements as a principal structure. And it's as of July 1st, 2023. But I don't know, oh, I did see that July 1st, 2023 date. I don't know why they have that in there, but I think that is correct. It
What
was
are you looking
something.
at?
It's under
KJ,
KJ
Oh.
on page 3. Yeah, I can't remember why they have that in there. And it's, the large font was my mistake. I'm not,
you weren't yelling there?
I am yelling right there. Really irritated with this whole thing. So then, as you can see in LK, that we are eliminating the covenant and just saying that ADUs must comply with all shoreline zoning requirements imposed by the town and by the DEP. And then,
So back to this July 1st, 2023. Was this in LD 2003?
yeah, it's somewhere, I don't remember where I couldn't figure out why, I thought they had the wrong date. I'll have to see if I can find where I found it. It may be in the rules. Don't know,
We should ask the lawyer.
yeah, why?
Yeah, so let's just make.
Yeah,
we
because
talk to
they're
the
not
attorney
even-
about it.
Yeah, all right. All right, good point. Then on the next page, page 4, we're just asking that they provide verification for adequate water and wastewater facilities. And this is where we add the definitions for tiny home. And it would be, it would be nice to have some of these definitions in the actual article where they relate. Instead of in the back, so you're just constantly, we don't even know sometimes if the word is defined in the ordinance, like attached.
It's not,
No, it's not. So,
Peter's grandfather.
right, grandfather. And we might want grandfather too.
Mine,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we didn't add grandfather into the ordinance.
it's okay. You know how much I like that word.
Just for you, Bill.
All right, so if nobody has any more comments on the LD 2003 proposed updates to our ordinance. I'm not sure, I think there was one change. Oh, there's really no changes to 45. Does it ever, development review? I think there was just one thing I didn't print it out. What's the one-time thing? What was it? It has one-time thing. Oh, it was including section 45-38 lot size. They're adding to that. Notwithstanding the foregoing, affordable housing developments can have increased density. It's just referring to other parts of the ordinance. Basically, 45 refers to 125, so any changes we make in 125, people have to comply with if they're doing a big development. So onward and upward to water quality.
Okay.
And I don't even know if this is appropriate to throw it in under our existing section 125-58 water quality. But it had just one long sentence, so I thought, why not add some more things to it? And so these are recommendations of the groundwater committee. They're suggesting to protect our water resources. So geothermal heating systems, we have definitions on closed loop systems and geothermal heating and open loop systems. And basically what these regulations come from a model ordinance drafted for the state of Pennsylvania. So we've just pulled that information out. We haven't taken all the information they have. We've just taken the definitions and these items under regulations. And DEP does require a permit, but it's really not very strict, or it's
Oh,
not,
for drilling a well?
yeah, for the geothermal.
Oh, for the
wells.
geothermal, yeah.
I mean, this just gives a little more teeth for the town.
Dave, does just a residents need a DEP approval for
For a geothermal system? Not that I know of.
yeah, I think that the DEP approval is for commercial.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I had a copy of that, I don't know what it is. But,
Let me know if I can help sometime.
we'll let you know about that select board if we decide to send it to them.
Okay.
Thank
We'll let
you
you
so
know
much,
when
Tom.
it is, Tom.
All
I'll
right,
let you know when it is.
thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, what were we looking at? Oh, DEP, I have no idea what I did with that. But, just one thing, in terms of regulations, we're proposing to prohibit open loop systems because they can allow, or they do allow for interchange between the groundwater and the system. So chemicals can be discharged into the groundwater.
They are discharged.
Oh, they are.
They are.
And that was for which one?
Open loop.
It's called pump and dump.
Oh,
And so, that's why we're just tightening it up and saying that closed loop systems are permitted, so they're either drilled horizontally or vertically. And also recommending only potable water or food grade or USP grade propylene glycol can be used as geothermal fluid. And no other materials or additives may be used. And a permanent sign must be attached to the heat pump specifying that only approved heat transfer fluids may be used. So no geothermal heating system constructed or altered after the effective date of this ordinance shall be operated or altered in such a manner as to cause geothermal fluids to be discharged into the ground. And all abandoned wells must be filled and sealed. Oops,
What?
by Pennsylvania Department.
Oh.
By
missed
a
that.
licensed, do we have we must have name licensed. Trail. We have well advanced procedures.
Not that I've ever,
With a lot of open wells around here that people just throw covers over and.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's probably just,
So we would be requiring that they all be filled and sealed?
well, I
All
guess
over
we're
the
just
island?
discovering that,
Whenever you put one in and you have one on your property, that's what they're
Yeah.
probably saying.
yeah. And this is for the heating system,
The geothermal,
geothermal system.
this isn't a drinking well.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Although, what
I guess we.
grouting a well means filling it back up with the stuff that was drilled out of it.
So see, I did put the source of where we came up with this model ordinance, because we need to have the lawyers look at this too. And see, and I guess I'll look up if Maine has any regulations on abandoning. I don't remember the DEP permit having anything, so they may not have that. So what are your thoughts on permitting geothermal?
But does anybody check the stuff that they put in there for it?
Yeah, I don't know how we'd monitor it. And we just have to cross our fingers, people are honest.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we don't have anything on the books right now. It's too new. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
so this would mean you would need a
you would
permit?
need a permit to install a geothermal system.
Well, you do anyway, right?
And it would have to be a closed loop, not an open.
It'd have to be a closed loop system. Yeah, we wouldn't allow any.
You would think people would want that because if there's a spill, it's gonna be a big expense.
That's right. But some folks aren't forward thinking like that, but
And don't live here year round.
Yeah.
So don't care so much, right?
harsh, but true.
We're trying to protect our aquifer, which serves all of us.
Mhm. Do you see any concerns or problems with
I
it?
don't, we'd have to do a little bit of looking to see if the geothermal would fall under, whether that would be a plumbing permit
Oh,
or land use.
oh.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, I can look at internal plumbing,
Oh, so it could be code enforcement,
it could be a.
sole code enforcement.
Right. I'd have to look, I can tell you right now on the actual internal plumbing permits that I have, geothermal is not listed on there anywhere.
Oh, my gosh.
So either I've got outdated forms or,
Well, it's pretty new, but it is, there are, well, there's one.
Yeah.
On the island
There is?
Yeah,
with several wells.
several, it's like 15 of them.
yeah, you have to have a lot,
15 wells?
yeah. I looked into doing it at my house, but they had too much shale, it would have cost way too much to drill 15 holes.
Wow. Huh? All right, well, we've got some questions on that one before we present it.
But the one that is here is a closed loop system. We do
Yeah.
know that, so.
Okay. Interesting, okay. So Dave, maybe you can help us with
Yeah.
this.
I will reach out to my people at the state and see what they.
So was that, did that system not require a permit from anybody, anywhere?
Well, so you don't think even DEP, so you're thinking
No.
DEP
The
does.
DEP regulations, I think if you look further, you'll find that that's for commercial.
Okay.
operations, not residential.
Yeah, I think it said that in there.
Oh. Oh, well. All
I
right,
guess we could say, I don't know, have that's Nacoma's, if the guy was licensed to do geothermal wells, or if he's just a well driller.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, most well people would have to, if they're gonna be doing it. Yes,
Have to be licensed to do geothermal,
yeah, I would hope so.
I would hope so.
All right, so we have a few questions on geothermal to address. The next item they recommended is regarding ground withdrawal, which the purpose is to protect the Islesboro single source aquifer from groundwater depletion. Item 1, swimming pools. All in-ground and above-ground pools must meet setback requirements of section 125-32C1. Pools that are put up and taken down on a seasonal basis should meet building setbacks if possible. Water from off-island sources shall be used for filling and refilling pool, whoops. A permit is required from the CEO. We're giving you more work.
All right. So you gotta get a
Jen,
permit.
could I-
Yeah.
Could I make a comment, Jen?
Say again?
You gotta get a permit to install.
Roger wants to make a comment.
Yeah, I'm
Roger?
not comfortable with, under A, the last sentence which says, if possible, should never use that should never be a operable phrase in a zoning bylaw. What's it mean, if possible?
Oh,
Well,
I think that means there.
I don't, that doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. Have we had many up above ground pools?
There's a few,
Yeah, there's a few.
I wonder how many gallons they take,
a lot.
a lot.
Well, should we
depends on the
just,
size. Matus have an in-ground pool, and I know that was a 30,000 gallon in-ground pool.
Yeah,
And like it or not, I know it's been filled with garden hose.
well, I think most of them are, most pools.
Some
right now are
people,
filled
some
with
people
garden.
truck in water. Some people truck in water.
Do they?
Yeah. It's been done here.
I know the Winters was always filled with garden hose too.
well, then why don't we, based on Roger's comment on A, let's get rid of that last sentence.
Okay,
Where it says if possible, or the
Yeah.
whole
Yes.
thing?
Yeah, the whole thing. Just have all in ground and above ground pools.
Okay,
Must
Make
be,
setback. Yeah,
right,
yep.
Make it-
Thank you,
make it
Roger.
definite.
All right,
make it definite, don't leave a loophole.
no wiggle room.
No.
All right.
And you wanna put something in there saying that they must be filled from an outside water source?
But that's the next sentence in B,
Oh yes, water from off-island sources shall be used for filling and refilling a pool. A permit is required from the CEO.
So this would be, so
You
right
couldn't-
now,
You couldn't use a garden hose.
right, but right now, they have to have a permit to construct a pool, to put up a pool.
If it's bigger than 120 square feet.
Right, and now this just adds
Oh.
another permit if they want to
If they-
put water in it, so
Right.
that's a separate permit.
I think we should probably just put that all into one, and if I'm issuing a permit, somebody to put a pool in,
it needs
that's
to,
gonna be a contingency of the permit, that
Okay.
must be filled
Yeah.
with outside source.
right,
Yeah,
And refill,
And refill.
yeah.
So swimming pool, where is that? So because it's a structure, it fits under the 120 square feet. Is that clear in the ordinance that a swimming pool?
Probably not. A lot of our ordinances are pretty.
Oh, I know, really.
Where are some?
I don't know, swimming pool is actually in there.
Oh, let's look in there, maybe
Yeah.
say a permit is required. must meet setback requirements and a permit is required. From that CEO. Somehow, I don't know how we state that, all right. Boy, you are going to be busy. And now, this is where I wasn't sure how to handle this, I was reading up on. There are no rules, DEP has no rules on discharging of water from swimming pools, which can be pretty nasty stuff. Chlorine is not healthy to freshwater, water bodies or wetlands. Saltwater pools are not healthy for discharging into freshwater water bodies or. And so this is recommendations provided from, now we could just have those in the office. The
That's
DEP
about the best
recommended,
you could probably do, because I can tell you right now, enforcing that would be impossible.
so we can't have it in the ordinance, it would be in the office, leaving this stuff. I mean, there's no, state.
Well, I mean, unless I was driving by and saw somebody draining it,
Right.
And
yeah,
that'd be pretty hard to see.
yeah.
So it'll be an attachment to the permit.
Yes.
Not
These are the
really,
recommended
no.
Procedures, but
It pulls off the bottom, but it is a discharge at the top. And most of them, especially for the winter time when they get them ready, they'll drain them down about 5 or 6 feet and it's just pumped out onto the top of the ground.
I mean, you gotta think that people who own these pools are, you would think they might be thinking, gee, I might be making
They're
my
probably the same-
groundwater brackish,
probably the
or
same
I'm
people
putting
that use
chlorine in my well water, you know? Maybe I don't wanna do that.
They're probably the same people who use Roundup.
Well, in the big cities, they put chlorine in the water.
Yeah, but in big cities that have town water, so. It gets treated.
I don't drink it in South Carolina because I can smell it coming out of the bottom.
All right, well then finally, we have, fire suppression system cisterns. It's a lot of S's.
Yeah.
And that's where, these fire suppression system cisterns shall meet setbacks. And water from off-island sources shall be used for filling and refilling. Are they required to have a permit at this point?
not at this,
Do you want to require a permit? At least,
yeah, it would probably help, because, well, everybody knows permits are basically the tax assessor. So they would say, oh, this house has got this improvements or this improvements, and when reevaluation, oh, this one's got a fire suppression system. You know, that's basically what planning board and permits are all about.
But some people might actually take them seriously and.
Yes,
yeah. Well, and we do
but
want
it
to,
would not,
yeah.
it would not hurt to have the permit requirement on those. That way we at least know what's going on around here.
right, and because some of those are so heavy, it's destroying the nice dirt roads we have.
Setbacks, if it's an underground cistern, that'd be kind of like leach fields and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
because a leach field, because it's going to be covered and revegetated,
Yeah,
can be within
5
3 feet of a
Oh.
boundary line.
okay,
you
so
know.
would we have a setback then, or just comply with whatever?
Just comply, I would
Comply with subsurface?
comply with subsurface rules, tank placements.
All right, then, we got them done. So the question is, we bring it to the planning board.
We're
And
here.
this was a workshop. This planning board, and then do we bring it to the select board or do we bring it to the attorney?
We bring it,
I think so.
Well, I would think attorney first
Yeah,
and have it something more like, you know, this is ready to go, here, select board.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if the select
Janet.
board don't approve it, then it has to go back to the attorney.
Janet didn't get back to me about that.
mhm.
She was gonna
I think
ask me
they'll
to-
just defer to the public. We then go to public hearings.
And Janet did say when we go to the select board, we should have a date for a public hearing.
Oh my God.
So probably should go to the lawyer first.
Well, let's assume that we go to the lawyer first.
Well, first, the planning board has to vote on this, right?
Mhm.
At a regular planning
At a
board.
regular planning board meeting,
Yeah,
that these are the things that we want to change.
yeah.
So we're gonna have to. Somebody's taking notes about mandated and not mandated and different other things.
I don't know if I've caught them all, but.
You wanna get together and
Yeah.
put it together?
Mhm.
So yeah, it should be on an agenda for one of your upcoming regular meetings.
Right,
to vote.
And I like what you did with the underlining changes, which needs to continue for the one we're gonna look at.
mhm.
And then if we could, just somehow mark the non-mandated ones.
Well, could we just color code what's mandated and what's not mandated, just in different colors?
Yeah, as long as everybody has colored copies.
Yeah, do we have a color?
Yeah.
We do.
Remember to use the right copier.
Just send it to me.
All right, so yeah, I think the one issue is we'll have to get working on the geothermal.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite clear how to deal with permits or if it's just the swimming pools, but we'll deal with that.
Swimming pool should be fairly easy.
Yeah,
Either you need a permit to put one in or you don't.
yeah.
So, are we also, you know, as part of this, going to ask to make the changes to the town centers? And not what we're, not Up Island,
No, I
but
know what you're talking about.
these two maps here where we would add two lots that are now part of, you know, there are 3 lots that are now one. Add that to,
Yeah, I think we should propose that to the select board, and it's basically housekeeping in terms of
Yes.
fixing the lines, to use the resource protection and shoreline zoning lines rather than property boundaries.
right,
It would still entail notifying everyone.
Right,
Oh, oh. Oh,
yeah, if you're gonna make changes to the boundaries, people have to be notified about the proposal.
Proposed, yeah, because they have to have the opportunity to.
Say, hey, I
Share their
don't
opinion.
want that.
Yeah.
I don't want to have an ADU or an apartment building next door to my property.
Yeah.
Although, just because they don't want it doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
yeah, I'd like to see that map. If she was able to find the maps for those 2 Up Island town centers. we must
Didn't you have it with you in front of you?
Yeah, but it doesn't include the 2, the Dark Harbor and the post office. But I'd like to see, those were the original proposed, town centers, if they were following the property lines. I think the error occurred when they made these big maps. They followed the wrong thing,
Oh.
yeah,
I have no idea.
in which case I would think it would be housekeeping.
You'll have to ask Tom for it, maybe he has it.
I would think they would have to follow property lines. I mean,
Yeah.
That's a question for.
Oh, yeah, you're not gonna cut a property now.
Yeah.
That falls, your half of it, this side of the property is a town center, this side's not.
And the post office follows property?
The post office follows property lines.
Does it?
Dark Harbor does not, for
So
some
it's,
reason.
it's just the Dark Harbor one?
Yeah,
Oh, so it's just, so, yeah, I think there's an error there.
Well, but,
It's because of the water.
so there are now three lots that are now together, 9A, 9B, and is it 10M?
Yeah, that's one lot.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's,
none of
a-
those are in.
yeah, that was just a separate issues that we're hoping to put those in, but that may be a bridge too far for us. We can ask the select board, will you just let us do this without a public hearing on it?
Can't do
That ain't gonna happen.
No way.
Can't do that.
That ain't gonna happen.
I mean, I don't think there'd be any problem with annexing that lot.
I don't think that will be the issue. I think the issue you're gonna have is the up island stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, people
Yeah.
definitely have to make sure people know about it.
Yeah, and I
As
don't
far, as
think,
far as adjusting this map, the Dark Harbor map, to include boundary lines, I don't think you'll get a lot of pushback.
I
oh,
don't think-
actually, the post office does too, because that's where we noticed it, when we were doing the public, the new health center.
Mm.
It doesn't follow the property line around the municipal building. It uses the resource protection zone.
Yeah.
So that might be housekeeping too.
Yeah,
So maybe you think Janet was the one who came up with these maps?
Pretty sure she came up with the up island one that I saw.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, she did. She had to, took her some time to dig it out, but yeah, she did.
Yeah, hopefully she can find the others. All right then, so we'll bring it to put on our agenda for next time.
So do you want me
Can you
to,
do that?
Mhm.
Remember to put it on?
that would be.
what are we putting on the agenda?
To approve the proposed modifications to the land use and development review ordinances per the mandates of LD 2003.
And the other stuff.
And a few extra things that we've decided to throw in there. Oh, that's
So-
great, yeah. Mhm.
Do you want help rewriting this? We should do
Sure.
that before the planning board meeting.
which is what, not next week, it's
It's in
next year.
January.
It's the 8th.
Can it be pulled together by then?
You mean as far as color coding was mandatory and not?
All of the above, I mean, is everything,
The fixing that we did.
can it be pulled together by then?
I think we can do it. It's just,
If not, we table it,
yeah.
if it's on the agenda.
I think it's just typing it. Unfortunately, I don't know how. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the typing. The typing is not fun.
I bet Carrie can do it.
Yeah, oh, it just, yeah, the word just starts to rebel.
She's certified typewriter.
Just drives me crazy.
I know.
Okay, if we have more than two helping, we have to have a committee meeting.
Right. The subcommittee meeting.
Yeah,
Subcommittee,
Yeah, but I can come with my little laptop and you guys can tell me. You know, and we can color code at the same time and,
Mhm. Well, all right. So I think we're all tired. Now we have to make our way back and hope there are no trees down between us.
I got my chainsaw in the back of my truck, I'm not
Will you-
worried about it.
Will you follow me home? Billy? Oh, Gil's going up by.
I don't have a chainsaw with me. But I'm going that way. Are we
All
done?
right. Well, thank you, everybody.
So we're gonna
Yes.
have a meeting for the three of us.
Oh,
Okay,
Thank you, Roger.
Bye,
All
Roger.
right, see, yep, see you later. Thank you very much. Yep.
If this was a workshop, we don't vote to
Bye.
quit, right?
No.
Oh.